Hello and welcome to the Fantasy Kings podcast. Today we are back with the crew to talk about the Week 3 matchups. We have some great matchups this week and some great players are going to put up some massive fantasy points. We talk about who those players are, so some lower end players who maybe could slide into your flex spot, who should be sat this week, and all within the fantasy range of things. We hope you enjoy. Hello and welcome to the Fantasy Kings episode 2. When we last were with you, we were talking about the top 25 players we thought that would be the top 25 players of the season. Now we're back and we're in season and we've seen how some of these guys have played and we're bringing back something from last year. We're going to be talking about the matchups for the week. We're currently in week 3. We're going to be talking about the matchups. We are not going to be doing Thursday's game of Carolina versus Houston, but we're back with the crew to talk about the Week 3 matchups and talk about some guys who are going to have good fantasy weeks, some guys who are going to have bad fantasy weeks. So let's get right into it with the Washington football team at the Buffalo Bills. I think the star player for that game is going to be Terry McLaurin. I think Terry McLaurin had a great game with Taylor Heineke in, losing Fitzpatrick and Heineke coming in and playing a great game. He got the ball to McLaurin a lot. I know Diggs is definitely going to have a good week. I just think McLaurin will edge him in points. What do you guys think about this matchup, and who are some guys who are going to have some good weeks?
Yeah, McLaurin's really stepped up from year 1 to year 2. I think he's shown great improvement. I think that's going to continue all season. And Buffalo hasn't been too great this year on defense, so I know in years past sometimes when a team's playing Buffalo, you're a little hesitant to start them, but I think that McLaurin's going to have another solid week.
You know, I'm going to have to say the opposite here. I think Terry McLaurin is actually going to be a bust this week. The Buffalo Bills have really been solid on defense, allowing the second fewest total yards in the NFL, and I'm going to say Stephon Diggs is actually the star player.
Yeah, I think honestly the star player might be the Buffalo defense, who actually dropped 25 points on me last week. So I felt that. I think Heineke might be in for a rough day at the office with the Bills D on the other side. So yeah, I'd probably go Diggs.
This Washington offense, I just think, is hot right now. So.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk about a couple of dilemmas that might happen in this game, especially with fantasy points. We had J.D. McKissick involved a lot last week with taking away a lot of Antonio Gibson's points. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out in Week 3. And then we also have a really uncertain backfield situation with Buffalo, with Devin Singletary and Zach Moss. Zach Moss did get 2 touchdowns, but there's just not enough value to play either of those guys because they're such a passing team. I just think that they're not worth a start even in the flex. But let's go on to the Week 2 matchup.
So for Week 2, we have the Chicago Bears.
Not Week 2.
Sorry.
Matchup number 2.
Matchup 2. It's the Chicago Bears at the Cleveland Browns. And so in that matchup, I'm thinking that the Chicago Bears are probably going to come back down to earth after an amazing performance last week against the Bangles. I think the Cleveland Browns are really going to be running the ball well against the Bears defense and really expose some of their problems at secondary. I'm going to say Nick Chubb is going to be their star player. Could also be their many weapons at receiver, Jarvis Landry.
Odell is also, I think, coming back.
Is Odell active this week?
I'm pretty sure Jarvis Landry is on IR now. I think Jarvis Landry just went on IR. Odell still is very uncertain. So the Browns wide receiver situation is actually pretty in shambles right now.
Okay, so then that's more reason to go back to Nick Chubb.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Him and Kareem Hunt are probably going to be carrying the load on.
And then,
I think for sure.
And then on the Bears side, Justin Fields gets the start.
I don't think I've ever been so excited to watch a football game in my life.
I don't know if you want to start him in fantasy. I mean, if you're a diehard Bears fan.
Honestly, if I'm going to be honest with you, if you have Baker on your team, I feel like this could be a big week. Like, besides Jalen Johnson being like the number 1 corner right now in the NFL at coverage, the rest of that secondary is brutal. So it's really just Jalen Johnson versus like 4 receivers. So like I'd play Baker.
Again, though, like with Odell maybe not coming
That's
back.
scary.
I
didn't.
IR.
Before I started talking about this, I did not know that.
Okay.
But
Me neither.
I don't know, bro. The Bears' run defense isn't bad, like, at all.
Oh, no.
In the fourth quarter, that's when Chubb will start going crazy on us, though. Like, Chubb is just someone you're going to start every week, in my opinion. Like, you can't not. He's too good.
And the only dilemma with that is Kareem Hunt does take away some
Yeah.
of those touches, but Chubb is still
the red zone is where it kind of gets shaky.
That's where you can freak out as a Chubb owner. Going back to the wide receivers being hurt, though, I think Austin Hooper has a big week for the Browns. He, I think, is kind of a sleeper tight end play this week, and I think that'll be a pretty good matchup. And, of course, everyone here in Chicago is excited to watch Justin Fields play. And just going along with that, for one more thing, I'm interested to see how Allen Robinson is targeted this game because he's been in the fantasy field.
Fields, after what I saw in week 2, Fields did seem to target him a lot. Like, when he didn't know where to go with the ball, I felt very comfortable that he would just be like, oh, there's Allen Robinson. I'm going to throw it over there. And him and Mooney could be a really dangerous combo. I'm not going to lie. The Bears' receiving core is not bad at all. Marquise Goodwin's quick. Goodwin.
They're all speed.
Yeah, and it's like they got a lot of guys. Cole Kmet, big dude. Jimmy Graham, big dude. Offensive power. Like, you really don't know. It's just the offensive line is still really scary.
Yeah,
injuries.
It's not like Fields is coming into like a team with no one.
Yeah.
He just has to throw it up to, the third string guy in any other franchise.
I'd make the argument that Lawrence has a worse situation than Fields.
100%.
Absolutely.
Lawrence, they're ruining his
terrible
career.
start.
They're ruining his career. All right, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that matchup. But what are we thinking about matchup number 3, Connor?
Well, I know Detroit didn't have it. They looked solid for 2 quarters, I would say, and then they sort of fell apart. And, they were playing Green Bay. I think Green Bay is only going to get better.
And by the way, matchup number 3 is Baltimore at Detroit.
That's right. Almost forgot to mention that part. But, Green Bay being Green Bay, they're going to get better as the season goes on. So that was sort of an expected loss, I think, for Detroit. But Deandre Swift, he was coming off of a groin injury. I think he should be – he's still questionable, but I think – he should be all good to go for this Sunday. Yeah. So I think his workload was a little less than normal last week, but he should, when he's completely healthy, he's going to be getting those red zone touches. He's going to be a big impact for your team.
You know who was really impressive last week for them? Jared Goff. Is anyone else expecting Jared Goff?
I think it's because Jared Goff, after he gets traded like that from the Rams, is kind of like a stab in the back. You just say, all right,
definitely. They made a Super Bowl run with him, and then they just sent him away.
Yeah, he's definitely felt that and was just like, all right, I'm going to go out there and do the best I can. And he did. I mean, the Lions are awful. They're really bad.
You want to talk about a team that doesn't have a wide receiver core.
Yeah.
But guess who that makes room for? TJ Hawkinson has had a great start.
22 points or something.
He's their only receiver. He's a tight end, but they're playing him. He's getting so many touches. And that's where I wanted to talk about Swift and Jamal Williams. They are kind of going half and half for touches, but they're getting a ton of throws and a ton of receptions, which just boosts their fantasy value. Just based on the fact that they have no wide receivers to go to, losing Galladay, losing Marvin Jones in the offseason. That just makes way for them. And then switching over to Baltimore, I don't know if any I hope our viewers saw this, but it was crazy. How about Harbaugh asking Lamar if he wants to go for that against the Chiefs to win the game?
That's something I feel like you see a lot more than people realize. Like that communication goes into it huge. I think it was just more he was mic'd up, so
you hear that.
I just think that was pretty cool. And Lamar, after throwing that early pick six, rebounded that game. I think Lamar obviously is going to have a great game here, running all over the league.
Yeah, him and Marquise Brown also have been connecting great early. So I look for that trend to continue.
I just wanted to say in one of my leagues, I did take Marquise Brown late, and he has done wonders for me. He won my game last week, so shout out.
Marquise Brown.
Yes, sir.
And talking about the running back situation in Baltimore, it's still a bit iffy. There's so many guys. I just don't know if you want to dedicate a flex.
Should not start a Baltimore.
Don't start anyone.
Definitely not this week.
And then going into week 4, we have the Colts at the Titans.
So this is one of those games where it's like, I don't know what to expect from the Colts. Like, they're a good team that looks awful. Have they played 2 really good teams? Yeah. Their defense is not what I thought it was. Therefore, I'm making Derrick Henry a super lock because I think he'll just destroy. But at the same time, like, Michael Pittman for the Colts has not been bad. He's not owned in every league, I would say. Definitely someone you could pick up. Like, he's good.
Yeah, Zach Pascal maybe, too, could be like a lower-end waiver wire pickup. Just stash him.
I think Jonathan Taylor's unbelievably overrated. I have not seen one thing that I like from him. Nyheim Hines gets touches. So does even Mack.
Marlon Mack.
Yeah,
he got 3 carries last week, too. So, like, the running back room is too loaded there.
I'm going to slightly disagree. I think Jonathan Taylor has not had the greatest start, but that's because he hasn't got touchdowns yet. It hasn't had like the big splash touchdowns. I think when he gets touchdowns, you're going to start seeing insane fantasy value. I wouldn't panic yet. He's still a young guy. He's still getting used to dealing with this stuff, but I think once he gets touchdowns, he'll be good.
And I think he had enough, like, you could see the future in him last year. Last year, he played pretty well towards the end of the season. And then I think that'll eventually carry over. It might just be a shaky start, and I don't know. Again, going back to Tennessee, the Colts' defense is pretty solid. Derrick Henry's probably not going to put up 50 points again this week, but he'll definitely be their number one player.
And someone I haven't seen a lot out of so far, we're only 2 weeks in, keep in mind, is A.J. Brown. I want to see A.J. Brown get...
He's been very quiet.
And Julio.
Rebound this week hard.
It's really been the Tannehill problem in my opinion.
You think?
Since they got rid of the OC, don't know his name, he's slacked hard. And I think they're definitely...
He looks like he's struggling a bit.
Yeah.
But that will be a good matchup nonetheless. And then... we get into the Chargers at the Chiefs. I think this is going to be a great game. And why I think that is because I think the Chiefs are going to want to rebound. That's a tough loss to take to the Ravens last week. And I'm thinking back to Justin Herbert's first start. When Tyrod Taylor got pulled out last second, Justin Herbert came in against the Chiefs. And he brought him to overtime, and they lost. But I feel like Justin Herbert's this is his revenge game against the Chiefs. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game because the Chargers defense does not look good. Justin Herbert did have a couple picks against the Cowboys, but I do think and Justin Herbert says I was paying close attention to him. He had a couple touchdown throws that got called back because of penalties on the O-line. If they can get that cleaned up, I think this is going to be a high-scoring, crazy game. This is my game of the week. And I think that my star player is going to be Mike Williams. I just think he's going to put up a monster game. He's been involved a lot. Tyreek Hill is also going to rebound. He had a tough week. Kelsey. But I just think Mike Williams is going to put up near 30. He's been that deep ball guy for the Chargers, and I think this would be a good matchup.
Yeah, I think that it's just going to be a big throwing contest between Mahomes and Herbert.
It's
a lot of throws downfield.
At the end of the day, it's just going to be a gunsling contest, and that's why I think this is going to be the highest. It's going to be the highest scoring game of the week. Anyone you have on the Chiefs, you should play, except Allaire, because
that's
Allaire.
They're not going to run the ball. Let's just be honest. I think Los Angeles has potential to get blown out this week, but at the same time, it would be like a 58 to like 35. I think that they're both going to score a lot. I just don't think after his first loss in September, Patrick Mahomes isn't going to go out there and throw for 5 touchdowns.
So the thing I'm looking at this week is last week, the Chiefs against the Ravens. The Ravens figured out how to settle down Tyreek Hill.
I think we're going to have a very similar game.
They had him in like triple coverage at some point, and Tyreek Hill did nothing really for the Chiefs. Yeah. That being said, the Chiefs were able to distribute the ball to Kelsey. He had a monster game. But I think the Chargers, if they decide to do that, maybe Tyreek Hill, I would definitely still start Tyreek Hill just because he's that good. But don't be surprised if they do triple team him and he puts up less than 10 points again. But the Chiefs, I do think, will win this game. Just because they have too many weapons. You can't stop them all.
Yeah, that will be a great matchup. Like I said, my pick of the week for great game. Then we have the Saints at the Patriots.
All right, so Saints at Patriots. This is an interesting one. This is a very solid-looking New England team so far this year. I don't know if anyone was expecting this quick of a rebound for them. And also the Saints come out guns blazing week 1 to, basically shut out the Packers and then get absolutely... Yeah, they did nothing last week. But... I don't know. I don't really know who to go with this week. I don't know if you want to say Alvin Kamara. He had a rough week last week. New England. I don't know. Who would you start for New England?
Doesn't
They
have
don't
a ton of guys who pop
Yeah.
out.
I'm gonna be honest. This is like one of those weeks. It's just like, It's like
it's a very.
It's the matchup.
It's going to be a
very
defensive game. But the only thing I have to say about the Saints is I still think the Saints are going to be good. But I think this is a hot take. I think Carolina's legit.
Dude, Carolina is so legit.
I think Carolina is a playoff team 100%. They're really good at football, and I love it just because I have so many Carolina players on my fantasy team.
And you guys will be watching this after the Thursday matchup of Texans and Carolina, so it'll be interesting to see how Carolina does against a Texans team that doesn't have Tyrod Taylor.
Carolina so far, by the way, has only allowed 190 yards per game.
Crazy. Like that. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't think the Saints last week was really like that was like a fluke. I think Carolina's just really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just going back to New England, I don't know if you want to start really.
Does anyone?
Well, David Harris is questionable right now,
Harris
so
is
James
pretty
White
solid.
may get a few more looks, and he had a great week last week. I don't know if he'll be able to continue from week to week.
Mac Jones had a rough week, but young quarterback.
I started Jonnu Smith over Robert Tonyan last week. That hurt.
That's just like with Hunter Henry in there
That
too.
hurt.
That's a tough.
That
fight.
hurt.
But Saints. I mean, you just have to start Alvin Kamara.
Alvin Kamara,
he's gonna rebound. He's
bad
too
last week.
talented.
Yeah, I think I've always been a very big Alvin Kamara hater. I am not a big Alvin Kamara fan. I think he's just literally a receiver. He's really not that.
But
good
he's
of a
their
running
only
back.
receiver.
He's like not a good running back, but like besides the point, he's still really good football, like really quick and stuff. So it's like. You have to start him, but like I've never drafted him. I've never had Alvin Kamara.
I've always drafted Alvin Kamara. With the third pick or fourth pick, Alvin Kamara has just been my
good year last year. I just think this is one of those matchups you're kind of just want to avoid fantasy.
It's a fat defensive matchup.
I think what does New England's defense put up last week? Like 20 something, right?
It was double digits
because Wilson threw 4 picks.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
It was
exactly
something ridiculous. I think they could do that. Not to like 20 points again, but they could get over 10 with the New Orleans offense and Jameis Winston kind of came back down to earth last week and didn't throw 5 TDs. Let's just say that.
And then the next matchup is we have the Falcons at the Giants.
Yeah, first off, Ridley did make a comeback last week, and if the Giants haven't looked too great so far defensively, I think Ridley's going to have a pretty good game again. As for New York, however, Saquon needs to get it going. Everyone was hyped for his return, and he's been quiet. I think you just want to avoid New York right now in general, besides maybe Sterling Shepard. Atlanta doesn't really have the strongest passing defense, so I think Sterling could maybe put up a good amount of points, but I think week 1 and week 2, best case scenario for Sterling, I think the numbers are going to go down as the season progresses.
Let's talk about Danny Dimes. That man has more rushing yards than Saquon. He's been playing well. I don't know how real that is, but he's been playing well.
It'll be interesting to see when he's going up against like a good defense.
I think I genuinely believe Daniel Jones might be the worst starting quarterback in the NFL. And I believe that wholeheartedly.
Like worse than these rookies?
Yes.
Like right now?
Yes. Dude is a turnover machine.
So bad. He's so
bad.
He does have a lot of turnovers.
He is so bad. And I don't even think it's really all his fault. The Giants just suck.
I'm going to be honest, though. I think he might be a start this week against the Falcons. Because I don't think the Falcons are so bad.
My start this week is definitely the absolute unit, Cordell Patterson. Picked him up in all of my leagues. Cordell Patterson had a crazy week against Tampa, and it was going to be so excited because I missed him on the Bears.
And that hurts Mike Davis home. There's a lot. People thought Mike Davis was going to be all right.
Mike Davis that much.
Mike Davis is only good, I think, when he's the only running back in discussion. When you add a committee or a second guy in there, that's when it starts to get shaky.
Because Cordell Patterson's getting all the receiving yards.
He's exactly.
That's another one of the matchups. Not a ton of high upside guys in that game. But it will be interesting to see how Danny Jones does and if Saquon can rebound.
Can we just talk about how we missed Cordell Patterson on the Bears? Like, were you guys looking at the Instagram for the Bears this week? And then they don't have that. Or what was it? It was the. How about them Bears? I just missed that from Cordell Patterson. I wish him the best, though, for Atlanta. I do think he could have another big week, and definitely pick him up off the waiver wires if he's still there.
Yeah. Then we have the Bengals at the Steelers.
This is a really fun matchup. because Pittsburgh is finally – all right, well, first of all, Cincinnati won't score a point. Like, I think Pittsburgh is going to murder them all night long. Like, their offensive line is that pathetic. Like, it's bad. Like, they have no one there. Jamar Chase has looked great. Yeah. Tyler Boyd looks great. T. Higgins fumbled, but looks great.
I mean, they just need to give
that's
Burrow
a cool.
more time.
I like that wide receiver core.
It's crazy good, and I hate their offensive line. Their defense is so average. It's not even.
It's hurting Burrow.
Their pass rush, I don't think I do not think Najee Harris has a good game, because I think the only really good thing on the defense of Cincinnati is that D-line. Because we all know how much I love David Montgomery, and they stopped him in his tracks a good bit.
Yeah.
So I think, with Pittsburgh having a bad offensive line too, I could really see Najee getting clamped up. But at the end of the day, Steelers by a million.
And I wanted to ask you guys, Krebs, I think I know your answer to this, but how do you think Joe Mixon is going to do this week?
Oh, I love Joe Mixon now. I used to always hate Joe Mixon, but after the Week 1 performance, I'm like, I always have disrespected him for really no reason. Like, he's like, after seeing that offensive line really just play, after watching the entire Bears game, I feel more bad for him than I do.
But dude's always hurt. He's hurt every year
because of his
half of the season.
Like, if they had 3 competent linemen, I think they'd be that much better. It's bad.
I don't disagree with you. I just could never draft him because I know, like, you just know he's going to get hurt and he's going to miss weeks.
And how about a guy who maybe looks to rebound, Chase Claypool?
I think him and Juju are both going to be in top 20 of receiving yards this week. I mean, the Bengals aren't going to be able to.
He's going to get it going at some point. Yeah, Big Ben has had some questionable plays. Big Ben has been.
I think Claypool,
I think that's going to continue.
I think either Claypool don't think it's gonna or Juju are just going to go off.
What about Deontay?
Deontay,
that's in the crazy wide receiver core. It's so good.
It's crazy, but at the same time, I hate it so much. But I like it's good. It's good. It's a good group of receivers. It's just like they use Juju so weird now.
I don't know how they like mesh him. Yeah, Juju got a rushing touchdown.
Yeah, that was like after seeing that, I was actually like mad. I was like, what is that? Like, I don't know.
You know, going back to your thing about Daniel Jones being the worst starting quarterback, I think it's Big Ben right now.
All right, well, you can't even make that. You can't even make that comparison because Big Ben has how many championships?
Yeah,
like,
Big Ben is also
worst starting quarterback for this year.
And I wouldn't.
He's gonna bring the Steelers down with him.
I think Zach Wilson is worse. I think Daniel Jones is worse.
Zach Wilson is bad. Ben Roethlisberger is worse, though, because he's going to bring a good team down with him.
We don't have a big enough sample size for Wilson and Mac Jones.
I'm looking at QBs, right? I mean, okay, I'd rather have Big Ben than Heineke. I'd rather have Big Ben.
Yeah, you're right, Heineke.
I'd rather have Big Ben than
Lawrence.
You could make the argument for Goff.
That's true.
You can make the argument for Goff.
Sure, fine.
Goff is oof.
But Matt Ryan, he's better than Matt Ryan now. Matt Ryan can't throw the ball more than 30 yards.
You're right.
Him and Roethlisberger are over the age.
Yeah,
they're both there. They're at the same spot.
Really interesting thing I watched the Pat McAfee interview with Eli Manning.
Oh yeah.
And they were talking about Big Ben because they were in the same draft class or whatever. And I was thinking about it's Eli and Phillip have been gone for a while now. Big Ben is still playing football. That's crazy.
He's been there forever.
Yeah.
And then how about the Cardinals at Jaguars here? I think the Cardinals look pretty dang good. I think Kyler Murray looks.
That's a blowout.
I think they're second in the NFC West.
DeAndre Hopkins, that's your star guy right there. He's an incredible wide receiver.
So that's scary though, because Elijah Moore is playing good. You got AJ Green.
Yeah.
Christian Kirk makes plays.
I think Moore's the second guy now. I think AJ Green's kind of just the older, third guy.
Christian Kirk.
Yeah. DeAndre Hopkins is so good.
I think Kirk and AJ are both just touchdown dependent, I would say.
They're red zone threats.
Red zone threats.
And Kyler Murray's your star.
Kyler is going to
how mobile he's been. He's looked incredible.
He's disgusting.
He's your, go-to fantasy quarterback.
Anybody who is on the Cardinals start this week, they're going to torch the Jags.
And that is the opposite, though, for the Jaguars.
Do not start anyone on the Jags.
Single person on Jacksonville this
James
year.
Robinson,
terrible.
I was talking about how I was high on him. They're using Carlos Hyde. They're using James Robinson in the worst way I've ever seen.
It's the Urban Meyer.
Oh, my
Urban
gosh.
Meyer sucks. I hate Urban
He doesn't know how
Meyer.
to play football.
I hate Urban
Or coach a
Meyer.
football.
Marvin Jones Jr. has been like their best player at receiver, like maybe
And
the
then,
one guy you could start in
Jamal got
flex.
injured.
DJ Chark is he even like
I haven't even
No,
seen him catch the
DJ
ball.
Chark, he hasn't
done anything?
done anything yet this year. I don't think.
I was
Urban
like
Meyer-
questioning if he's still there. He's done
Urban
nothing.
Meyer only plays Hyde because he coached him in college. It's
Oh really?
It's
Yeah, okay.
garbage.
I actually did not know that. He coached him in college, but
It's garbage.
Trevor Lawrence so far is thrown for 5 picks.
Yeah, he's had the worst. I read
Zach
something
Wilson
about him
has
having.
more, though, right? For as a number one.
Zach
Yeah, he's like the
Wilson.
worst start as a number one overall pick ever, and that's just the Jaguars effect. Let's just be honest. But not much to say. Arizona is going to destroy them.
Zach Wilson also has 5 picks.
Yeah.
And let's get into Zach Wilson here with the Jets at the Broncos.
Okay, here you go. Denver defense is going to have a feast.
Yeah.
Pick up the Denver defense. They're going to put up an insane amount of points against Zach Wilson, who cannot throw the ball without throwing it into the defensive hands players.
He had a rough game, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe he has a bounce back. I don't think so. I don't like anyone on New
Like,
York.
dude, it just sucks for him. He's in
Yeah.
another really bad. Like him and Trevor Lawrence are really just going to be going through it all. This
Running
year.
back situation in New York, too, is very bad.
They don't really have anyone.
there's no one you can really start in New York. And then for Denver,
Corey Davis,
But
maybe.
Denver
Yeah.
Sutton has like big play potential a lot.
yeah,
See, this is the problem for me. I think they should have started the year out with Drew Lock, and if Drew Lock would have sucked it up, that's when you throw. Because like everyone knows Teddy Bridgewater is going to come in. And
he's looked pretty good though.
yeah, no, 100%. But like everyone knows that he's good. Like I would have given Drew Lock his final chance and been like, if you screw up, you're gone.
And I think Noah Fant is maybe a decent tight end option,
Yeah.
especially with Jerry Jeudy being out and all that problem with our receiver Cortland Sutton and KJ Hamler basically being the only ones there. I feel like I'm missing someone, but
I know it's been running back by committee there, but like it's still been. They both produced.
it's going to
pretty well.
switch over to Williams soon, though. It's just a matter of time. Like
Yeah.
Melvin
Melvin
Gordon
Gordon
has
had a
that good
great
start.
week one, though.
He can still be that's because he had a 70-yard touchdown
Yeah,
run,
facts.
and that inflated the stats. I think Melvin Gordon is still a flex play, but I think over time he's just going to be kind of
That's fair.
phased out of there. And Williams,
I've had people
later on, maybe try and trade for Williams, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Later on, he's going to be
I
really
had
good.
Javonte Williams, and people have been offering me trades for him, like little subtle deals, for like a wide receiver 2 or like maybe even like a wide receiver 1. I've declined all of them. I know he's going to be a stud. Eventually, come back half of the season, he's going to be their running back 1 eventually.
Yeah, it's just a matter
Just
of time again.
Keep him or trade for him.
Then we have the Dolphins at the Raiders.
Yeah, one thing I want to say about
Oh my
Miami is,
gosh.
do you even trust like a wide receiver right now?
Because Tua has been ruled
No.
out.
Tua's
So
been ruled
we have
out.
Jacoby Brissett, which is
He
All
did not
am I
look
the
very
only one who's
questionable.
like pissed off by the way he looks in a Dolphins uniform?
Brissett?
Yeah, he just looks.
I don't
stupid.
know
he always
why.
looks weird in the
No,
uniform.
let me. I'm showing
Yeah.
you now because it made me angry. Like I don't.
Okay, but then quickly to switch over to the Raiders.
Oh my
Derek
God.
Carr,
They've been great.
Oh
Are they
my
real? Like,
Darren Waller's
where did the Raiders come from? They
Super
look
Bowl
great.
contenders? No, I was just kidding.
I don't know about that, but they look like
Their
look good.
their division's too good for them, really. But like, I don't know, Derek Carr, the number 1 quarterback in the NFL right now by a lot, 817 yards in 2 games.
That whole receiving core, wide receivers and tight. Well, Waller's the only tight end, but the wide receivers have looked great too.
Henry Ruggs looked good. Yeah,
Renfro, all
yeah,
of them.
Renfro looked good too. That deep throw to Ruggs last week was crazy. That was a great
The blue
play.
the short sleeve that he does is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. Because you know how he does his sleeves longer. With the Dolphins colors, it looks so stupid.
And just going back to the Dolphins, I don't know if you trust anyone there.
Yeah,
I don't either.
I was like excited for them. 'Cause
Gesicki, nope.
I thought Myles Gaskin was going to do really well
Yeah.
here, and it's not.
I think.
Back to the Raiders for a second.
Okay.
I was so scared about their defense because I knew their offense had really good upside and large potential. Like, their defense has shocked me. They've played so well. That defensive line looks really, really strong. Like, they've looked really good. I'm not going to lie.
And Will Fuller,
he
one
comes
more thing,
back.
he comes back, so it'll be interesting to see how he does. Obviously, do not start him, but if you got him, it's obviously going to be
now with
interesting.
Parker, Fuller, and Waddle.
Just to see what his role will be. It'll be interesting.
That's honestly so true. It'll be really interesting to see how the Dolphins
receiving
look.
core in general, like, I just like they're an interesting group you have there.
Yeah.
And then we have the Buccaneers at the Rams.
This is my game of the week.
Okay. Yeah.
This is definitely the game.
I mean,
of the
like
week.
Brady's looks like he's still 25, which is just like it's just crazy.
It's
Gronkowski,
upsetting. Oh my gosh!
If you have Gronkowski, you're really lucky because he's probably winning you fantasy football games.
I mean,
he's my lock, honestly, because if they're in the red zone at the 20-yard line, the ball
it's going to Gronk.
It's kind of a guessing game.
It feels
just
like
based on how good that you have Gronk, you have Mike Evans, you have Godwin, you have Antonio Brown. I think Antonio Brown has been on the COVID list now.
He's on the COVID list.
Evans and Godwin, don't think twice. Get him in. Get Evans and Godwin in. Just because Antonio Brown's not there. Gronk has looked good. And a guy I want to talk about the Bucs. Leonard Fournette has kind of had a slow start. I think he could have valuable flex play later on in the year. They do pass a ton. I just think Leonard Fournette, could have decent.
I think
play.
they're going to let Brady.
They still try and sneak Ronald Jones in.
I like Fournette over Rojo.
For sure.
Yeah, I do
sure.
too. I do too, for sure.
And then on the Rams side of things, Cooper Kupp. Looking great.
I love Cooper Kupp so much.
He just route runs better than anyone else.
I feel really bad for everyone who may have gotten stuck with Robert Woods instead of Cooper Kupp.
Wrong decision.
Tyler Higbee had a rough week last week. Hopefully he rebounds. And then let's get to the running back situation there. Daryl Henderson was the clear-cut starter, but now he has a rib problem. He's questionable. If he's out, Sony Michel all day. Daryl Henderson was out in the fourth quarter. Sony Michel came in, got, I think, around 10 touches and around like 40-something yards in the fourth quarter. He looked good. If Henderson is out, play Sony Michel in your leagues.
Would you start him, though? Like
in the flex? He's a flex. He's totally play him in the flex if Daryl Henderson is out.
I'm going to question that. I don't think that the Rams are going to try to run the ball against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I just think
that's a very valid point. Tampa Bay does have the best rush defense in the NFL. That's a really good point.
Yes. I don't think they're, fourth string running back at this point in Sony Michel, third?
Cam. Second just because Cam Akers isn't coming back.
Well, because... Okay, I just don't think...
If Cam Akers was healthy, Sony Michel wouldn't be there.
I think Matthew Stafford either is going to have to ball out or they're going to lose.
Yeah.
But he very well could ball out. You saw that against the Bears.
Yeah. Matthew Stafford's really good.
He's so good.
I feel like that's a good pick for Game of the Week as well.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's a good game.
Then we have the Seahawks at the Vikings. The Seahawks coming off a pretty tough loss in overtime to the Titans. Chris Carson hasn't had a ton of yards, but he has been getting touchdowns, so that's good for him. I would go star player here.
Tyler Lockett.
Yeah.
I think this
Tyler Lockett has been that's actually a good call there, Krebs, because Tyler Lockett has looked crazy. Just getting those deep balls for touchdown, and then I haven't seen a ton of DK Metcalf.
DK Metcalf is the most overrated receiver.
Yeah, he's really not that good. He's just a big guy, but doesn't really run well, I guess.
I don't
know.
think Russ really likes throwing to him that much. Like, Russ...
He loves Lockett for 50
that
yards.
new third-string guy, Russell Wilson, throws him the ball. Don't know this dude's name. He throws him the ball a lot. On the other side, I feel so bad for Minnesota.
I think
they could be 2-0.
Such a tough loss.
They could be 2-0, and they're not.
One player I do like in this game though is Chris Carson. The Minnesota Vikings defense against the rush is terrible. They cannot stop them from running the ball, and I think Chris Carson could put up 20+ points.
And then on the Viking side of things, Dalvin Cook got mini injuries, is in and out that whole game. He's
that was
fine.
Weird.
It seems like that wide receiver core is good. Obviously,
Don't
Justin
trust
Jefferson,
Kirk Cousins.
Adam Thielen should have fine games. Kirk Cousins, obviously.
What do you guys think about Osborne? You think he's legit, or
I don't know if he's legit, but definitely pick him up if he's on your waivers. Pick him up. That wide receiver core is.
The thing is, they need to get Kirk out of there. Like
I
I
know.
hate Kirk Cousins.
If they drafted like a rookie in the upcoming draft or something, that would shake them up a lot. I think that's something.
I think that's something that Atlanta, Minnesota,
Steelers,
and
maybe
Steelers
it's time.
all need to do. I think that's those are the next 3 teams we'll see go for QB.
And then we have the Packers at the 49ers.
So, okay, this game is interesting. The questions are really around Green Bay, I guess. Are they a football team or are they not a football team?
Yeah, thanks.
Do they know how to play football? Does Aaron Rodgers want to be there, or does he want to go
rebounded
and chill in Hawaii?
Yeah.
There's no way to tell. He played the first half of the Lions game like he was a backup quarterback, and then just decided he wanted to play football again and torched them.
I think he's gonna beat San Francisco.
Oh, for sure. I think it's a similar Lions situation.
Yeah.
San Francisco just makes me angry because they don't give the ball to people who should be having the ball.
Like Kittle.
Why is
People are furious
Debo?
about Ayuk.
Why is Debo Samuel getting?
All right, well, Debo's filthy. I'm not.
Yeah,
But
Debo's
why
good.
is he just
Ayuk
getting
has
everything?
not touched the ball. Their running backs are
So stay away from that. They all 3 of them got hurt. If Elijah Mitchell is okay, maybe play him because he's like the only one healthy. But all of them got
I don't
banged
know
up in
who's
that
going to
game.
play running back.
Yeah, that's just a tough situation. And going back to Green Bay, Aaron Jones had a crazy week. Devontae Adams, obviously, you're starting every week. Tunyon, people have had some questions about him. He looks like he's
set him.
still okay.
Aaron
Don't sit Robert
Jones.
Tonyan.
Aaron Jones popped off. He was
basically, yeah.
Rodgers' favorite target, and I don't know. He could have another great game.
That was
again.
football from Aaron Rodgers I can say I've never seen before.
I think Rodgers has another really good week though, because just for
Definitely.
like fantasy
And
standards.
he's always good in the primetime Sunday night
Oh,
games.
He
That's
loves
true.
showing it off.
He loves
That's
showing
true.
it off.
He had so many doubters after week 1. Now he's going on his revenge tour. And then let's go to the last matchup of the week: the Eagles at the Cowboys, a rivalry to end it off.
Let me just say, I think Smith is going to do amazing things in this league.
Really? Okay, yeah.
He has looked great first 2 weeks. I think that is going to continue. I mean, he might have a few off games just because he's a rookie. Jalen Hurts and him seem to be really connecting. I really love Jalen Hurts this year. What he has done so far is just amazing. And I just don't get, why did he have so many doubters in the NFL?
Yeah,
Was it just because of the transfer situation? Or is there
that
more
always
to it?
brings up, stuff. But he's proven everyone wrong
Yeah.
right now. Which is
Also,
good.
I need Philadelphia to figure out the running back situation because I have Miles Sanders and
Miles Sanders needs to step it up
Yeah.
too.
He's done
been
nothing.
rough. Like even going to last year,
I'm also really scared about Amari Cooper because CeeDee Lamb is there. And CeeDee Lamb's really good.
If Amari Cooper's out with Gallup and Amari Cooper out, CD is going to play insane.
CeeDee's getting like 10. He had 10 receptions week 1 with Gallup and Cooper.
Yeah.
Like if neither of them are there, he's literally gonna have like.
And
20.
Zeke bounced back. Tony Pollard. How about
Tony
Pollard?
Pollard's
He
good
looked
at football.
Yeah.
Tony Pollard is so good, bro. I love Tony Pollard.
Yeah, Tony Pollard had a good week. Zeke bounced back. So
I think Zeke has a good week.
I'm a
here.
big Cowboys guy. And
Really?
I know
Okay.
Why?
I don't
no
know
one
about
likes
that,
the
but-
Cowboys. And
Why?
I love
America's team for him.
Zeke Elliott is literally my second favorite player. I
Really?
love
Yeah.
Zeke
You
so
like
much.
Zeke?
Dude,
I don't know. He kind of annoys me.
the only thing with Zeke is he fumbles the ball way too much.
He's so inconsistent fantasy-wise.
Yeah,
Let's be
Like,
real.
dude, they don't give him the ball sometimes. They just don't.
Sometimes, Dak Prescott is legit. Dak Prescott is very good.
They need to try to
as a
find a way to
quarterback.
get Zeke involved more in the pass, I think, too.
That's
But
why Tony Pollard is like
Yeah, but
so
like
valuable.
I agree with that so much because I feel like Zeke has good hands. Like I think he's agile enough, and
It's
I think
just-
he'd be a
Do you
good.
think
use
we?
Tony
do
Pollard
you-
for it. That's
I
what
think
it
we
is.
would have seen it by now, though. He's been in the league long enough
Dude, that's
that
the
if
thing.
he
I don't
could
think
be a
they-
receiving back, I think he would.
They've
be
never
back.
really tried it.
I don't
though.
think the
Like,
Cowboys' offense is like that good
I think
for how good the players are. Like I
yeah.
That's
I
the
think
just
they're-
a theme.
That's
with
the
them.
theme
I
for the
think they
Cowboys.
are
Their
in the
players
complete-
are
I think they are
nuts.
in the complete wrong
They don't know how to play
system.
as a team.
I think
yeah.
they're just in the wrong system.
And with that being Monday night, I hope it's another great primetime game because
sure.
we've had a ton of those. But that does it for this week's matchup. We hope you all enjoy. Like I said in the first video, we're doing a league with Hersey athletes. So coming soon, you'll see some of them in the booth with us here talking about fantasy. We love talking about these matchups. We hope your guys' fantasy teams do well this week, and we'll see you guys in the next one. For Krebs, for Connor, for Jake, I'm Jack, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.